Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. Today, let's revise the lesson kinematics. Okay, in kinematics, first we learned what does the word kinema mean, that is motion, and then we learned the concept of rest and motion. In that, we learned what does a frame of reference mean. I'll just tell you in general. When an object is moving, that is a car, when a car is moving and we are standing at a position, that car position is known as a coordinate system, and that is described with the help of the axis in which we are standing. Then such coordinate system is known as frame of reference. If xyz is in anti-clockwise, it is right hand Cartesian coordinate. When xyz in clockwise, it is left hand Cartesian coordinate. This is the image of right hand Cartesian coordinate and this is the image of left hand Cartesian coordinate. Then we learned what is a point mass, that is when a mass of a system is concentrated at a particular point, that is known as a point mass. Next, types of motion. We learnt linear motion that is in a straight line, athlete running is an example. Second is circular motion which moves in circular path, that is motion of a satellite. Next is rotational motion, when an object rotates about an axis, at a particular axis, that is known as a rotational motion. Vibratory motion, that is when we play guitar, the strings get vibrated when we play and we get this music, that is known as a vibratory motion. Next, one-dimensional motion is also that will come under linear motion. Two-dimensional motion, ant moving on a desk, that is travels in x and y direction, y axis. Three-dimensional motion is a bird flying or a random motion of a particle. It takes x, y and z axis. Next, elementary concepts of vector algebra. Scalar describes only magnitude, that is distance, speed, mass, etc. Whereas vector describes both magnitude as well as direction, force, velocity and acceleration. Magnitude of a vector, length of a position vector, that is when we say 3i plus 4j plus 5k, those numbers indicate the magnitude, that is the magnitude of a vector, that gives the length of a vector. It is also known as the norm of a vector. Types of vector. First is equal vector. When magnitude are equal and travels in same direction, they are known as equal vector. Next is collinear. They take up 0 degree or 180 degree. If it is 0 degree, they are parallel vector. If it is 180 degree, they are anti-parallel vector. Unit vector. Vector divided by its magnitude is known as a unit vector. Orthogonal unit vector, 3 unit vector directed perpendicular to each other. Generally, orthogonal meaning perpendicular to each other. Next is addition of vectors. Addition of vectors can take place by geometrical method or analytical method. This is a geometrical method. Addition can be done in two types. One is triangular law of addition method or parallelogram law of vectors. Now let's see triangular law of addition method. Let us take two vectors B and A. This is the tail and this is the head. Likewise, A also has a tail and a head. When they get added, the tail of B is joined with the head of A, and this line is joined to get the resultant R. So when we join this red color line, we get R is equals to A plus B. So that is the R is the resultant. So to add, we joined A and B. We obtain the resultant vector as R is equals to A plus B. Next, the angle between A and B is theta. Resultant vector is R vector, as I said. Thus, R vector is equals to A plus B. So, when we take it in the we can also represent it as OQ vector is equals to OP vector plus PQ vector. So when we try to calculate the magnitude of the resultant vector, we get, so when we try to calculate the magnitude, we imagine another triangle, that is ABO. we get cos theta is equals to an by b, that is an is equals to b cos theta, and sin theta is equals to bn by b, so bn is equals to b sin theta. Therefore, for triangle OBN, we have OB square is equals to ON square plus BN square. This comes under, this is given by Pythagoras theorem. So when we substitute everything, we get R is equals to root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. Now when we try to, that is the magnitude. Now we are trying to calculate the direction of the resultant vector. Theta is the angle between A vector and B vector. So modulus of A vector plus B vector is given by root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. R makes an angle alpha with A. Therefore triangle OBN is given as, that is the direction is given as alpha is equals to tan inverse B sin theta by A plus B cos theta. This is the direction of resultant vector. Next is scalar product of two vectors. Scalar product is dot product. That is given by A vector dot B vector is equals to AB cos theta. From this we can define scalar product of a two vector as the product of magnitude of both the vectors and cosine of the angle between them. We take only the magnitude of A and B, that is A and B. The angle between A and B is given as cos theta. So the product of magnitude of both the vectors and cosine of the angle between them is the scalar product of two vectors. Next is vector product of two vectors is a cross product. So this is the formula for that. C is equals to A cross B is equals to AB sin theta into n cap. N cap is the unit vector. So we can define it as the product of magnitude of two vectors and the sine of the angle between them, where we take the magnitude of A vector and B vector and the angle between them gives AB sin theta. Position vector. In general, the meaning of position is locating object. That the meaning of position is locating an object. So P is the object and R vector is the position taken by the object P. That can be defined as R is equal to xi plus yj plus zk. It is given at any instant time t. Next is the distance. Distance is the actual path taken by the object at a given interval of time, and displacement is the difference between final and initial position. Distance is a scalar quantity and displacement is a vector quantity. Displacement can also be defined as the shortest distance taken by the shortest path taken by the object. Okay, next is the displacement vector in Cartesian coordinate system. Let's take a look at this graph. P1 is the one particle and P2 is another particle. P1 takes a position vector R1 and P2 takes a position vector R2. We need to find the displacement between P1 and P2. So that is given by delta R is equals to R2 minus R1. So when we substitute the value of R1 and R2, we get the displacement vector for delta R is equals to R2 minus R1 as this. Next is motion along one dimension. Let's take a particle x moving in one dimension. Average velocity is delta x by delta t, that is x2 minus x1 by t2 minus t1. So velocity is defined as v is equals to dx by dt. So when we interchange and integrate, we get integral x1 to x2 dx is equals to integral t1 to t2 v dt. So from this graph we can tell v is the area under the curve, area under this curve with time, with a particular time. Since it's a two-dimensional motion, we get positive displacement with positive area and negative displacement with negative area. Okay, next is relative velocity in one-dimensional and two-dimensional motion. When two objects A and B are moving with different velocities, then the velocity of A with respect to B is known as relative velocity. There are different cases in this. Let's see them one by one. So A and B are moving with uniform velocity VA and VB. So VBA is the velocity of A with respect to B, that is given as VA minus VB, and VBA is the velocity of B with respect to A, and that is given as VB minus VA. The magnitude of relative velocity of one object with respect to another is equal to the magnitude. So they both are equal in magnitude with respect to each other. This is case 1. Next, case 2. A and B moving with uniform velocity VA and VB in straight track but in opposite direction. So this is the diagram. They are moving in straight track but in opposite direction. Velocity is VA and VB. So when we write it in formula, we get VBA, that is A with respect to B, we get VA minus of VB, that is VA plus VB. And VBA, that is B with respect to A, is equal to minus VB minus VA, that can be written as minus of VA plus VB. So here the magnitude of relative velocity of one object with another is equal to the sum of the magnitude of their velocity. Case 3. Velocities VA and VB are at an angle theta. So VAB is VA minus VB, and that is given by VAB is equals to root of VA square plus VB square minus 2 VA VB cos theta. Next, that is the magnitude, and this, when we take the angle direction, tan beta is equals to VB sin theta by VA minus VB cos theta. Therefore, when theta is 0, they travel in straight line in same direction. When theta is equals to 180, straight line but in opposite direction. And when theta is equals to 90 degree, VAB is equals to root of VA square plus VB square. Okay, now let's take a look at this example. A person is moving with a velocity of Vm and rain falls vertically with a velocity of Vr. Initially, there's no angle. The umbrella hold by the person is at a right angle. Okay, so the velocity of rain with respect to the motion of a person is given as Vr minus Vm, and the magnitude is taken as root of Vr square plus Vm square. So when we are holding at right angle, we will automatically get wet. So for that, there must be some angle made by the umbrella in order to save us from the rain from getting wet. So that angle is given as theta is equals to tan inverse Vm by Vr. Next is accelerated motion. Uniform velocity in non-uniform motion, velocity changes. The velocity of an object is no more constant but change with time. That is known as accelerated motion. Velocity changes with time. That is known as accelerated motion. Next is average acceleration. Average acceleration is the ratio of difference in velocity over difference in time. Next is instantaneous acceleration. The ratio of change in velocity over delta t as delta t approaches 0 is known as instantaneous acceleration. This is the formula. A vector is equals to limit delta t tends to 0 delta v by delta t. Next, equation of uniformly accelerated motion by calculus method. Object in a straight line with uniform velocity A, initial velocity is u at t is equals to 0, and later the velocity will be v and time is taken in later. So velocity time relation is given as acceleration is the first derivative of velocity with respect to time. So a is equals to dv by dt or dv is equals to a dt. Therefore, when we integrate, we get dv integral u v dv is equals to integral 0 to t a dt. So finally, when we do integration, we get v tends to u to v, that is equals to a at of 0 to t. Therefore, we get v is equals to u plus at. This is the relation between velocity and time. Next is displacement and time. Velocity is the first derivative of displacement with respect to time. So v is equals to ds by dt, or ds is equals to v dt. So after integration, and when we substitute value of v is equals to u plus at, we get ds is equals to u plus at dt. We must substitute the value here itself. ds is equals to u plus at dt. Initially t is equals to 0, and later at t the particle is displaced to s. So when we integrate, we finally get the value of s as ut plus 1 by 2 at square. This is the relation between displacement and time. Next is velocity and displacement relation. Acceleration is the first derivative of velocity with respect to time. So a is equals to dv by dt, that is equals to dv by ds into v. So after we substitute all this, we get ds is equals to 1 by 2a dv square. And when we do integration 0 to s, ds is equals to u to v 1 by 2a dv square. We get v square is equals to s is equals to 1 by 2a v square minus u square, and we know v square is equals to u square plus 2as. When we substitute the value of at is equals to v minus u in s is equals to 1 by 2 at square plus ut, we get s is equals to ut plus 1 by 2 v minus ut, and after solving we get s is equals to u plus v t by 2. Therefore, from all the relation, that is displacement velocity, displacement time, and velocity and time, we can give all the kinematics equation. So these are all the kinematics equation we derived from equation of motion by calculus method. Equation of motion under gravity. Case 1, a body falling from height h. The mass will be m, h is the height, with no air resistance. So acceleration is given as g into j cap. Az is equals to 0, ax is equals to 0, whereas ay is equals to g, because the gravity pulls the object automatically downward. Therefore, v is equals to u plus gt and y is equals to ut plus 1 by 2 gt square. V square is equals to u square plus 2gy. We derived all this in kinematics equation. When u is equals to 0, we get, when we substitute the value of u is equals to 0 in all three equations, we get these three. V is equals to gt, y is equals to 1 by 2 gt square, and v square is equals to 2gy. T is equals to capital T and y is equals to h. We get h is equals to 1 by 2 gt square, and t is equals to root of 2hg. When h is more, t also will be more, and when h is less, t also will be less. Speed of the object is given by v ground is equals to root of 2gh. The motion of a body falling towards the earth from small altitude purely under the force of gravity is called a free fall. Next is projectile motion. Motion of an object under the gravity alone is known as a projectile, and the path taken by the object is known as a trajectory. Effect of two velocities. One is uniform velocity in horizontal direction and uniformly changing velocity in vertical direction. There are two types, one is horizontal projectile and one is angular projectile. The main assumption of this projectile motion is air resistance is neglected, effect of rotation of earth and earth curvature is neglected, but acceleration due to gravity is constant in both magnitude and direction. First let's see horizontal projectile. This is the image. From here the projectile is thrown, it takes a path OPA and hits the ground. Y is equals to h is the height from where the projectile is thrown. Initially the velocity will be u, and from origin the distance travelled by the projectile is x. So it can be resolved in two components, x of t is equals to x and y of t is equals to y. Horizontal component is ux and vertical component is uy. Horizontal motion along horizontal direction is given by direct distance travelled by the projectile at t is equals to x is equals to uxt plus 1 by 2 at square. When a is equals to 0, we get x is equals to uxt. This is motion along horizontal direction. So motion along downward direction, from this equation when we solve we get y is equals to 1 by 2 gt square. So when we resolve and when we finally resolve, we see this equation is similar to as y is equals to kx square. So this y is equal to kx square is the equation of parabola. So from this we can conclude that the path taken by the projectile is a parabola. Next, time of flight. Time of flight is the time taken by the projectile to complete its trajectory, that is to fall on the ground. That is known as the time of flight. The value is t is equals to root of 2h by g. It depends on height of the tower and independent of horizontal velocity. Next is horizontal range. The horizontal distance covered by the projectile from foot of the tower to the point where it hits the ground is known as horizontal range, and range value is given as u root of 2h by g. R is directly proportional to initial velocity u and inversely proportional to acceleration due to gravity g. This is the initial velocity and this is the acceleration due to gravity. Next is resultant vector. Vx is equals to 0 and Vy is equals to gt. So V is equals to, so when we substitute this and get the magnitude, V is equals to root of u square plus g square t square. That is the resultant vector. Speed of the projectile when it hits the ground is given as, that is speed of the particle when it reaches the ground, that is given as V is equals to u square plus 2gh. Okay, next let's see tangential acceleration. Let us consider a particle moving with radius r. Distance travelled is delta x and angle is delta theta. So delta s can be written as r delta theta in time delta t. Delta s by delta t is equals to r delta theta by delta t. And we know delta s by delta t is equals to r omega. V is equals to r omega is true for circular motion. Therefore, we can write dv by dt is equals to r d omega by dt, that is equals to r alpha. And at is equals to r omega. This is the tangential acceleration. Circular motion moves in circular path with a constant speed is known as circular motion. Uniform circular motion is velocity changes but speed is constant during the circular motion, that is uniform circular motion. And next is non-uniform is velocity changes in both speed and direction during the circular motion, that is non-uniform circular motion. Next is kinematics equation of circular motion. These are the kinematics equation for linear motion and we are comparing it with the kinematic equation of angular motion. And this is the end of kinematics unit. Thank you.